All right, Connie's not with us today, so as always, we're recording this session. A steady caring hand is our devotion for today. We are caring for those who are suffering from depression. Anyone might experience some level of depression at one time or another, and some of us probably have encountered it ourselves. Depression can be painful, frustrating, and exhausting experience, affecting a person's outlook, the sharpness of mind, and overall functioning. Those who are depressed may wish they could just will themselves back to normal, only to face the reality that it's not quite that simple. In your pre-class reading, you read that a major challenge for someone experiencing depression is the ongoing cycle of negativity that can leave a person feeling trapped and defeated. Often people are unable to see a way out of the situation, or they may see what needs to be done, but struggle to take the necessary steps to help themselves. In the Bible, the prophet Elijah faced a frightening and painful experience, resulting in his feeling very depressed. While living faithfully for God, he met strong opposition, including from Queen Jezebel, who threatened to have him killed. Desperate and feeling alone, Elijah ran. Would someone read the verse about Elijah printed at the top of your outline? 1 Kings 19:4. It doesn't tell me. Oh. Should be the top of module 13. Look at the top of the page. Go back to the first page.
Here's the first page. Actually, on the first page, just there.
Top of the page.
Okay, I'll do it.
And what is it? 1 Kings something.
No, Joe's the first one in here. Kings 1.
Okay. 1 Kings 19:4. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat down under a solitary bloom tree. He asked that he might die. It is enough now, O Lord. Take away my life, for I am no better than my ancestors. Elijah lay down and fell asleep until he felt a hand on him.
It's on 297.
Oh, okay. The hand belonged to an angel sent by God to strengthen and refresh him from the journey to Mount Horeb. Once he arrived on the mountain, he rested in God for 40 days and nights, and there he learned to hear God's voice as a silent whisper. Those who are depressed may not vocalize their fear and pain in the same way as Elijah, but they certainly are crying out for help. Just as God's angel met Elijah in his depression and helped him find his way to hearing the voice of God, so God works through Stephen ministers to bring strength and hope to care receivers struggling with depression. Your presence can refresh a care receiver, helping him or her find the hope and healing that he or she so desperately needs. Please join me in prayer. Lord God, we know that many have encountered or will experience depression at some point in their lives, including many of us and those that we love. When we suffer from the pain closing in around us, we ask for the comfort of your presence. When those we care for feel depressed, use us to care for and support them, to share your presence, and to show them the way to renewed hope and joy. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
I got a question. We got two of them.
Two of what?
So that's why we were confused.
You got two of what?
Depression here.
The second one.
See, there's this 13 and then this.
The second one is.
See, that's 13 and this is 13. So that's why we were looking.
But the second one is the study today. That right there is the pre-reading.
That's your pre-reading. This is what you're doing for today. That was your pre-reading.
Sorry, we didn't.
Miss Sandra, all yours.
I was just asking. I wasn't mad. I was
All
confused.
We didn't have to say that.
Confused.
Well, I wasn't being smart or anything. I was just asking.
All right, let's focus on what we're doing.
I was that way last week.
Okay, you find my place on the page. All right, we're going to start by talking about how to recognize when a care receiver who is experiencing depression may need to be referred to a mental health professional. Your pre-class reading covered 3 types or levels of severity of depression: mild, moderate, and severe. You learned that Stephen ministers can care effectively for care receivers who are mildly or moderately depressed, while those who are severely depressed need to receive professional help. Focus Note 1 contains the description of mild, moderate, and severe depression from your pre-class reading. Take a moment to review those. Focus Note 1, I believe it's on 298. Is that correct in your book?
Focus note number 1, it's on 297.
Okay, 297. Sometimes they give us page numbers and sometimes they don't. I don't know why they're not consistent. I usually try to write it down when they don't, but
Mine, I did get it.
I'll get that read. As the description for severe depression indicates, those that are severely depressed need care from a mental health professional. That being said, it's not your responsibility as a Stephen minister to diagnose the severity of a care receiver's depression. But being familiar with the 3 types of depression in Focus Note 1 is helpful as a reference, but ultimately, your goal is just to recognize the characteristics of depression and the signs that a care receiver may need to be referred to a professional. Take a quick look at Focus Note 2. That's on 298. It does tell me that, which provides a snapshot of those 3 types of depression and the likelihood that someone at each level would need a referral. As you can see, the more intense a care receiver's depression, the more likely it is that she or he needs to be referred to a mental health professional. Again, you won't be making a definitive diagnosis as to whether your care receiver is mildly, moderately, or severely depressed, but it's helpful for you to understand these categories so you can have an idea of where your care receiver might be in his or her depression. There are 2 situations that indicate a care receiver experiencing depression needs to be referred to mental health. The first situation is when a person's characteristics of depression go on for at least 2 weeks and seem to be interfering with the care receiver's ability to function, such as going to work, attending school, eating, attending to personal hygiene, or maintaining his or her relationship with others. These are an indication that a person may be severely depressed. So if you go in and it's obvious they have not combed their hair and they don't look like they've eaten in 3 days, I mean, you can see the signs when it's beginning to get into a really severe pattern. The second situation is when a person displays 1 or more signs that his or her depression is beyond a Stephen minister's ability to care. Focus Note 3 on page 299 lists some of those signs. Take a couple of minutes to read through the focus note to yourselves. Okay, get through those. Now, take a look at focus note 4. On page 300, which contains a flow chart for determining when to make a referral to a mental health professional for a care receiver who may be depressed. If a care receiver is exhibiting some of the characteristics of depression, keeping in mind that most care receivers will experience some of the more common signs, such as lowered mood or expressions of anger, pay attention to how long those characteristics last and the impact they have on the care receiver's life. It's going to be most common that some of them are going to have at least a small degree or some degree of depression. And, you just need to be aware of that it's going on and pay attention if it lasts on and on and on and don't start getting better. They say if it goes on more than 2 weeks, then you need to kind of be aware of it. Following the flow chart will help you know when you need to contact our community resources contact, which, we've all been told, call Robert. In any question, call Robert about getting a referral for your care receiver. If you're uncertain, you can consult with him. I call him if you just have a question that, hey, I'm concerned about this person. Is this enough? We need to maybe look at something else, or your student ministry group. When we have the supervision meetings, you can bring that up as a discussion point in our supervision meetings about whether it's to a point of needing some help or not. A rare situation that calls for immediate action is when a care receiver may be in imminent danger of harm. For example, if you believe he or she is at high risk for attempting suicide. In this kind of situation, this says contact emergency services first. Robert has said call him first. He needs to be the one that contacts emergency services, not you, because it's easier to handle it through the church.
Yes.
Yeah. What's wrong? Question?
I had short pain in my eye and it's hurting. It's okay though.
You sure you're okay?
Okay. It's just, I'll be all right.
If not, you let us know. Yeah.
It's aggravating me. I'm all right, y'all.
Okay. All right. We'll not make a big deal until you tell us it's a big deal. In this kind of situation, contact emergency. No, we got past that one. We already know. Contact Robert first. We'll talk more about helping care receivers who may be considered suicide in the next module. The whole next module is about suicide. I hate that I'm not going to be here for that one too. It's a good one. Also keep in mind that it may be beneficial for a care receiver experiencing moderate depression to receive professional care, particularly if his or her depression has lasted for a substantial period of time. There's no hard and fast rule for when a care receiver who is moderately depressed could benefit from professional care. So if you think a referral might be helpful, just talk with Robert or your supervision group about it, because sometimes, you can see from the flow chart, sometimes it's, yes, maybe, don't know. And from that chart we saw where the degrees of as it gets into the moderate, some of it gets into the darker levels. So if you feel concerned with what's going on, talk to somebody about it. To summarize, if your care receiver is mildly depressed, go ahead and continue to provide care as a Stephen minister and remain alert. If your care receiver is moderately depressed and has been for a while, or if you think she or he would benefit from professional care, bring up the possibility of a referral with Robert or your supervision group. And if you think your care receiver may be displaying any signs of severe depression, or that he or she needs care beyond what you can provide, contact somebody right away. Don't let it go on, because if something happens, then you're going to think, well, I should have done something else, and then you're going to have guilt feelings about it. But if you have talk to somebody about it. If you feel uncertain with what's going on, talk to Robert, or bring it to the supervision group and let the Stephen leaders all talk to you about if we might need to do something. Remember, you're not alone in situations like these, and you don't have to make decisions on your own. All of us on the Stephen Leader team The pastor and the supervision group are there to support you every step of your way. Now let's put these principles into practice. Focus note 5 on page 301 to 303 contains brief descriptions of 10 situations with care receivers who are feeling depressed. As a class, we'll look at each situation and discuss whether the care receiver should be referred to a mental health professional. As we discuss these scenarios, refer to the flow chart. To the flow chart in focus note 4. Gives us about a minute for each one, so we'll go through them. We've got enough time to go through them and not really push on this. Do y'all want to take turns reading these, or maybe just go around like you read one and then we'll discuss it, and go you read two, because there's 10 of them. So if we just start with her and let her do one, and we'll discuss it briefly, and then we'll move around, leave each one of y'all read it and kind of be thinking about it as you read it. So, okay, go ahead.
Number 1, your care receiver says, I've been feeling so sad every day since Halloween. It's been a couple of weeks already, and even though I'm keeping up with everything all right, I just don't know when this sadness is going to go away.
What's your thoughts on that one? Is this one something, looking at the flow chart,
A couple of weeks is not long.
not when you've lost a spouse? No.
I would say no.
And they say, well, I've been keeping up with things, and but it's just a sadness. That's going to take a long time to go away, unfortunately. And if it doesn't go past that point, my input would be, give it time, watch it, be aware that it's there, and that they have said, they're aware that it's there. Don't tell them there's anything wrong with feeling that way. Just use your skills with saying, well, tell me how you're feeling. Tell me what you're feeling now, and how it's going. And if they start talking, then just encourage them to keep talking, because that's the only way they're going to deal with a lot of this stuff, is to talk through it. And sometimes that's the hardest part, is talking through it with somebody. Until once they get talking freely, they'll talk as a rule. We just got to give them the opportunity. Okay, Francis, you want to read 2?
Your care receiver has been feeling more and more down every week. They find it difficult to talk about feelings and have stopped going out with friends. During your caring visits, they frequently just sit quietly with a downcast expression. When you ask your care receiver about their feelings, the care receiver just shrugs.
What do y'all think about that?
That sounds a little more dense.
Yep. It's been going on for a while, and it's changing. They've quit going out with friends. They've quit talking as much about their feelings. Their depression is deepening. So it's probably time to talk to somebody about a referral. Talk to the pastor. Talk to Stephen Leader's group, supervision. But if it's time to start considering that they may need more help than you're able to give them.
We have done this in this group.
Yeah.
We did refer them first, and actually we wound up going to their family, and their family referred them to the care they needed.
Yeah.
It just happened.
Some people kind of get stuck at one point and can't really seem to move on past it, and their depression can deep. Depression is no fun. Depression is one of the most horrible things I can imagine.
Yes.
And we all probably have experienced depression, short episodes or episodes of depression in our life, in one situation or another, and that's common. And usually, as long as they're still functioning, you can work through it. But when it gets to that level that you don't have hope that you're getting better, or you feel like there's no way out, it's a hard thing. Okay, Sherry, you want to read 3?
Your care receiver has been exhibiting some emotional characteristics of depression. In addition, the care receiver complains that every day for the past 2 months they have had headaches. and felt constantly exhausted. A doctor's appointment last week did not find any physical reason for the headache.
Okay, let's walk through just this on this one. Let's walk through the flow chart that they've given you. All right, is the care receiver exhibiting any of the characteristics of depression listed in the class reading? All right, is the answer yes or no? Yes. All right, so you move down to the next step. Have the care receiver's characteristics of depression been present most of the day, nearly every day, for at least 2 weeks?
Yes.
Yes. So you move down to the next square. Are the care receiver's characteristics of depression interfering with his or her ability to go about daily life?
Yes.
All right, so we're down to the square. Consult your resource contact about referring for mental health care. So that chart is kind of helpful in a way if you need some thought to guide your thought processes about, where they're going with the depression, how it's doing, how it's improving or not improving or whatever. All right. Hazel, you want to do 4?
It had been 6 weeks since your care receiver moved to the city. After the initial thrill of being in a new place, the care receiver has started to feel lonely and down. Recently, the care receiver has talked a lot about friends at home and has mentioned having some trouble sleeping over the past week.
What you think? That one's not as cut and dried, is it?
Probably you need to go back for some visits.
Honestly, I think it says 6. Is 6 months not a point when you make a big change that you're most likely just kind of settling into the change and you may question whether it was, what you really wanted to do or not? I think it takes a lot longer than that to settle in a new area. I can tell you for sure it takes longer than 6 months to be settled and have friends and.
Sometimes it takes the people,
Yeah, well, people that are not used to moving around very much and that have a major change in their life, that move is a major change, it may just take longer than that. They haven't mentioned anything about it interfering with anything except sleeping.
being in a new place,
Yeah. And they really haven't had a lot of the characteristics of depression. Certainly not for longer than 2 weeks. This has just kind of come up that they're starting to kind of question. So that one is one. Just keep giving the best care you can and watch for any new signs and help them talk through it, because more than likely they're just feeling a little tinge of homesickness for where they came from and just haven't gotten used to the area, and take a little more time. All right, Francis, you want to do 5?
Your care receiver, who lost her spouse months ago, says, I've been feeling so bad for so long. Anything would be better than this. I've been thinking a lot recently about Chris. Sometimes I just think about how much I wish I could go to heaven soon too. I've been thinking about collecting sleeping pills. That one needs help.
That one needs help. When they've expressed a plan that they may be thinking about suicide, and they've got a plan, and they've even started figuring out how to go through with it, definitely red flags. They need to refer.
help immediately.
They need a referral. Yes, that's one you go immediately. You call or go to somebody very soon, because you don't want to wait a few days and think it over and something happen in that period of time, because they've obviously been thinking about it for a little while too. So yeah.
Well,
That
you may feel guilty if something does happen to you.
Yeah, that one has a lot of red flags in it. Okay, Sherry, you want to do 6?
Your care receiver says, I used to think I was a good parent, but I haven't thought that for a while now. I've been so tired since the baby was born, I don't even have the energy to play in the backyard with the other son, even though I love doing that. Life feels just so exhausting right now. I know I'll bounce back eventually, but it really is frustrating. I would say yes. I think she's got So that's what postpartum.
Yeah.
I was-
This one is a little
Sounds
more,
like the symptoms of postpartum.
Yeah.
That's what I was
That's
thinking.
what I was
yeah,
thinking.
this one is a little more questionable. I think they probably may need to talk to their doctor about postpartum depression. But they haven't experienced, they haven't really, I think they would fall into the moderately depressed because it is in effect interfering somewhat with their life. And they may need help, whether it's totally required at this point. That was an iffy one. I think that's one of those that you may have to use your judgment about how they appear, but it may be one to at least talk to somebody about and tell them what's going on. Talk to Robert or talk to,
That's when you take to your Stevens Ministry supervision.
Yeah, the supervision group is a good place to discuss those and get the input from some other people but that one, when it's dealing with something like postpartum depression,
Yeah.
That one's a little more iffy as far as something that we can actually help them through or not. And a lot depends on, so talk to somebody about that
And
one.
postpartum depression is hard for even doctors to diagnose.
Oh, yes. And it's hard to get people past. I mean, there have been
Yeah.
people that have done some horrendous things when they were in that postpartum depression. So you don't want to just ignore it, but you talk to somebody else when there's one that's so in that moderate range that can go either way. Get some more input. Unless there's a red flag that you've seen, that then go talk to Rob and say, hey, this flag bothers me. All right, Hazel,
Number
7.
seven. Your care receiver says, it feels like this has gone on forever. It's been 6 months since we broke up and I still can't think about it without feeling miserable. Meanwhile, where's God? I used to pray and believe God heard me. Now I think he's deserted me. I guess I'm just gonna have to get used to this feeling. Get used to feeling like this forever.
Okay. Where's your flags on this one? The fact that she's kind of given up a lot of hope. She's not expressing much hope that she's going to get better.
Just number 8,
7.
7. Okay, I was reading the wrong one.
She's it's been 6 months and she doesn't feel like she's making any progress. It's natural. I mean, you're going to grieve a breakup like you would death sometimes. But she's not giving up much. She's not thinking much about getting better, and that she's just going to have to get used to feeling this way forever. And there's some flags there that she may need some help that you're not going to be able to give her.
Yeah, I used to talk to friends. I had a bad one. I would talk to friends. I mean, there wasn't anybody you could really talk to back then.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And as long as they're still talking to you and they haven't, and they're still discussing it and trying to work through it, you can probably help them. But when they get to the point of saying, I used to pray and believe God heard me, now I think he's deserted me and I'm just going to have to get used to this, that it's like they've given up, like they have no hope left. And when they get to the point of not having hope, they've kind of crossed over into far moderate depression. So I would say at least talk to somebody about one like that.
Once again, that's when you need to bring the supervision.
Yeah.
it was kind of there too.
That supervision group is a good place to discuss any concerns you have. And we don't do it by name. I mean, not like we want you to reveal who it is or the exact circumstances, but you can do it without having to reveal a lot of personal information about them as far as their. So it just those kind of things bring to supervision group. And or unless you feel sometimes you just get a gut feeling that maybe this sounds more serious than it is. And then you might need to talk to Robert or something. But anyway, 8. Francis, yeah.
Your care receiver has been feeling upset and depressed about losing their job a week and a half ago. The care receiver hasn't gone grocery shopping since then, didn't show up for the church meeting they chair, and has told you they aren't going to apply for any other jobs.
Yeah. Red flags on this one?
They need help.
Yep. They aren't doing their daily activities. They quit going to church meetings. They quit doing most of the things they normally do. And that indicates you're moving into the very moderate to severe level. So you need to talk to somebody about referral on that one, because it has like a effect in all of the areas of their life. Okay, Sherry, number 9.
While meeting, your care receiver whispers to you, I think my family has been meeting without me, talking about what to do with me. I'm sure they're thinking about having me put away and eventually keep me out of the house and making me live on the streets. Yeah, I told somebody about that.
Yeah.
Somebody's got a major case of
Uh,
persecution complex.
yeah, when they're having irrational thoughts like
Yeah.
that, it's because you don't know how quickly those thoughts are gonna
Yeah.
going way down off the track. So yeah, that one's got a lot of red flags, and that person is suffering and probably does need some help. I like more than what we can ever do. All right, number 10.
Your care receiver says, I've been feeling sad and wanting to cry ever since Kyle left for college. I call him once a week and feel better for a while. But whenever I walk past his room, I really miss him. I'm able to forget about these feelings. When I'm at work or when I'm working in the yard. But there always seems to be a time every day when I remember Kyle and start feeling sad again.
What you think?
Probably needs to go live with him. We had a lady here, a teacher here one time. Her daughter went to college, I don't remember where. And she actually moved down there, got her a trailer, and stayed with her.
Yeah, that's
I've known several parents who have done
yeah,
that.
I've heard of that happening too.
That's
But,
not new.
I mean-
That's not new.
And this lady is finishing. I mean, she's doing. I don't think my reaction was ever that strong when my girls went off to school. But it's not an uncommon parental thing, and she's dealing with it. She hasn't quit doing anything else, but she misses him, and there's a time every day that she really misses him. But there's no real flags there that she's moved from miles.
Just want to keep an eye on her so she doesn't get stuck.
Yeah. Continue remembering and to keep on encourage her to talk and just make sure that 2 or 3 months from then she's probably fine. So anyway, all right, whoever's got 2. It's been changed so many times, I'm not sure. I think Robert, do you have that one?
Yeah, I've got the next 2 actually. Those 2 twos in this lesson.
Oh, that's right. It goes to the break and then after the break. Bob, did you real wait there?
Yeah, Bob. Yeah, 12 guidelines for caring. Yeah, Bob really gave me a good one here. I appreciate Bob.
Next week.
Do what? Yeah, you're not until activity 3.
Next week he comes.
It says we can finish activity 2 in 18 minutes, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, we're on page 304. 304, everybody there? All right. We've looked at what to do when a care receiver's depression goes beyond the care a Stephen minister can offer. Now, let's talk about what to do in situations where Stephen ministers are equipped to provide care. When a care receiver is experiencing mild or moderate depression, many of the skills you've already learned about, feelings, listening, distinctive Christian care, assertiveness, caring for grieving people, will be helpful in caring for those who are depressed. For this section, we're going to focus on 12 additional guidelines. Number 1.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we're way behind. Let's get caught up here.
Got you.
Way behind. Let's see, where are we at?
Yeah, you're.
It just quit working.
You went backwards instead of forwards.
Yeah.
Because I put it on the next slide. You went backwards.
I sure did, didn't I? You weren't behind, I was behind.
There you go.
Okay, number 1, be accepting. First, keep in mind the importance of being accepting. A care receiver who is depressed may experience rejection from others. People may avoid your care receiver because they find him or her difficult to talk with, to be around. Ever had somebody that you really didn't want to talk to them? Been there, done that. Others may invalidate the care receiver's feelings or experience by saying things like, you really don't have anything to be depressed about, or you should be over it by now. Or you just need to stop being so negative about everything. Avoidance and invalidation from others are often perceived as rejection, which may push a care receiver deeper into depression. You can bring light into a dark place by accepting your care receiver and letting him or her know it's okay to feel pain and share difficult feelings. For someone who is depressed, such acceptance can be very real comfort. Look at focus note number 6. It involves a couple of examples of how you might express your acceptance to a care receiver. Would someone read focus note 6 for us?
I know you've been struggling with feeling down. I just want to say that when people go through what you've been through, feeling down is natural. I'll be with you while you work through this. What we ready to say?
Yes, ma'am, please.
You said earlier that you felt bad for being depressed and not acting like yourself. I just want you to know that no matter what you're going through or how you're feeling, I'll walk with you through it.
By expressing acceptance and support, you help create a safe place for the care receiver to let out his or her feelings. Number 2, take your care receiver's feelings of depression seriously. Closely related to acceptance is taking your care receiver and his or her feelings of depression seriously. Depending on the situation, it may seem that the care receiver is depressed over something that people would ordinarily consider insignificant. Even so, the pain the care receiver is experiencing is very real and should not be dismissed. I actually highlighted this one. Resist any temptation to try and cheer up your care receiver or use humor to help him or her out of the depression. Resist the temptation to cheer up or use humor. You may come across as being uncaring and unfeeling. You may think you're being funny. They may think you're being cruel. Such efforts won't help, and the care receiver may perceive them as trivializing his or her feelings. Rather than feeling better, the care receiver will probably only feel worse. Instead, work to see the situation from your care receiver's point of view by asking questions to learn how he or she feels about things. Asking open-ended questions. Are you okay today? No. Well, tell me why you're not okay today. What's been going on lately that has you feeling like this? Yes and no questions don't help anything. You always want open-ended questions. And then empathize with his or her feelings and avoid imposing your own perspective on the care receiver's experience. Y'all ever met someone who no matter what you've done, they've done it, only they've done it better? Those are the most irritating people in the world. Secondly, as a caregiver, you're not doing your care receiver any favor if every time, I had something like that happen. My brother one time, no. You're there to listen to their feelings, not tell them how you're bigger and better than they are. Doing this communicates that you are taking your care receiver situation, empathize with his or her feelings. Doing this communicates that you are taking your care receiver's situation seriously, which will help him or her feel safe to continue sharing. Be patient. I highlighted that one for me. Caring for people who are depressed can require an additional measure of patience. That's because care receivers with depression may talk or respond more slowly than usual, repeat themselves frequently, or constantly focused on the negative. Allow the conversation to proceed at the care receiver's speed. Listen attentively, respond with care to his or her thoughts, even if you've heard them before. Showing impatience or frustration may cause the care receiver to blame him or herself for that negative reaction, and then the care receiver may be less willing to share or might retreat further into depression. Your facial expressions says a whole lot more than your words do. Somebody starts telling you a story that you've heard 5 times before, and you roll your eyes back in your head, or even worse yet, you just close your eyes and kind of bow your head a little bit. They know, I've heard this before and I don't want to hear it again. You'll also need to be patient with the care receiver's pace for handling his or her depression. Resist the temptation to argue against the care receiver's negative thinking or give advice about changes the care receiver could make to start feeling better. Well, if you just go out and do some shopping, you'd feel better. No, we have to resist that. That kind of focus on results won't help the care receiver. Instead, remain patiently focused on the process, allowing God and the person to work through the problems in their own time. Okay, we're on page 305. People who are depressed may have a wide variety of feelings about talking with others. Now I'm behind. Some may not initiate conversation, even if they feel better when talking. Others may talk in spurts and appreciate extra time to collect their thoughts. Still others may be extremely uncomfortable with silence and want to talk consistently. Y'all don't know anybody like that, do you? Who talks all the time, who just cannot handle silence?
Never knew anybody.
No. When caring for someone who is feeling depressed, you'll need to determine the best way to engage the person in conversation. Use the active listening skills you learned in Module 3 to offer affirmation when your care receiver shares, prompt him or her with reflective statements, and ask follow-up questions to invite additional sharing. Well, I've just had a really bad day and things haven't gone the way I want them to, and I'm just so upset. You can respond back by saying, I understand you've had a bad day. Tell me about it. Like I said, don't give them yes or no, because if you give yes or no, they'll answer the yes or no and they'll hush. Get them talking to you. Best way to initiate when you first go to see them. The best question to ask when you get there, whether it's your first visit or your 50th visit, the best first question. Tell me what's been going on in your life. That's not a yes or no question. Tell me what's been going on in your life. And that opens the door for them to tell you whatever may be on their heart or mind. And then if they say, well, nothing really, because they could come and say, well, nothing really, well, tell me about your week. Well, not much happened. Well, tell me what did happen. You may have to ask several questions to get them flushed out. There's a book called, Asking the Right Questions. Yeah, Asking the Right Questions. I don't remember who wrote it, but it's a phenomenal book. I've got it on Kindle, and I've read it several times because when I'm dealing with pastors that I counsel and some of the pastors that I mentor, I make sure that I'm constantly asking them open-ended questions, not giving them a chance to just say yes or no. Where were we at? Pay attention to how the care receiver responds and determine as best how he or she feels about conversation. In many instances, your active listening will help the care receiver become more comfortable with talking. Be aware, however, that care receivers who are depressed may blame themselves for being too talkative. If your care receiver has been sharing a lot and then suddenly starts to hold back or apologize for talking so much, you may need to give permission to continue sharing. That might involve saying something like in Focus Note 7. Sherry, read Focus Note 7 for us.
Please feel free to talk. I'm here to listen.
You would be amazed how many times, even with church members, when we're talking, one of them, some of them will say, well, I'm doing all the talking. My answer is always the same, and I'm here to do all the listening. It's always my answer. When somebody says, well, I'm talking too much, my answer is, but that's what I'm here for. I'm here to listen. Give them permission to continue doing all the talking and that it's not bothering you that they're talking so much. In other situations, you may find that the care receiver doesn't seem to be comfortable talking, possibly only responding with short answers or communicating discomfort through body language. If this happens, it's not a reflection on your caregiving. People who are depressed sometimes just don't feel like talking. They may also blame themselves for allowing silence to occur. You can help decrease their anxiety over silence by saying something like in the words in focus note number 8. Francis, if you would read 8 for us.
Take your time. It's all right just to be silent.
Bigger question is, can you sit and be silent? As a caregiver, you have to be comfortable with silence. Don't let it last too long. But if they talk and they just stop, just sit in silence with them for a few moments. Even so, you may at times want to gently break a period of silence with the care receiver who is depressed. Focus note 9 suggests some statements you might use to break silence. Hazel, would you read number 9?
You've been quiet for a while. I'm wondering what you think. You're not saying much, which is perfectly okay. But I imagine there's a lot going on inside.
I prefer the first one. That's a great question. You've been quiet for a while, I wonder. That's a great question, folks. That's a great question to ask someone. Don't rush to speak every time there's a lull in the conversation. But breaking silences in a gentle, caring way can help keep the conversation moving and encourage the care receiver to verbalize his or her thoughts. Number 5. Encourage expression of feelings. Exploring feelings is important with any care receiver, and is particularly so with those who are feeling depressed. Care receivers dealing with depression may have an especially difficult time expressing their emotions, so providing a safe place for them to articulate their feelings is a key way to care. One way you can encourage care receivers who are feeling depressed to share their feelings is by affirming them when they make any kind of feeling statement. For instance, if your care receiver has been struggling to express something and then manages to put his or her feelings into words, you could give an encouraging response like that in focus note 10. Hazel, read 10 for us, please.
Thanks. I've been wondering what you were feeling about that.
Wonderful question. Some people who are depressed may express their feelings by crying. Others may feel uncomfortable doing so, even if they have the urge to cry. Similarly, a care receiver who is depressed may also be experiencing feelings of anger, which can be a difficult emotion for people to express. For some reason in our society, we think anger is a bad thing. If it's controlled anger, it's a good thing. It may help them get out something they need to say or something that they've been thinking about. If you're talking to someone and they seem to be really angry, don't sit there and tell them, now don't be angry no, don't do that. Ask them, tell me why you're so angry. Once again, those open-ended questions. Focus note 11 on page 306 shows some statements you might use to invite a care receiver to cry or express his or her feelings of anger. Take a moment and read focus note 11 to yourself. My favorite thing to tell people when they get really angry, or they tell me I'm just so angry at God, but I know I shouldn't be. My favorite answer, God's a big boy. He can handle you being angry at him. He's got his big boy pants on. Just go ahead and say what you need to say. Don't worry about making God angry. Sometimes they need permission to be angry. Of course, you'll want to help care receivers share any feelings they may be having, but tears and anger are often especially difficult to let out. So it's good to be prepared to help people express them. Anytime a care receiver who is depressed expresses his or her feelings, ask follow-up questions to encourage him or her to continue talking about those emotions. Focus Note 12 shows some ways to encourage a care receiver to share more about any feelings. Read Focus Note 12 to yourselves. As you work through your care receiver's emotions with him or her, continue to validate those feelings and communicate acceptance about anything the care receiver shares with you. Number 6, help your care receiver work through negative thoughts. People who are feeling depressed have a tendency to get caught up in negative thinking, which can cause the depression to worsen. Responding to this negative cycle requires patience, gentleness, and care. I highlighted that line. That's a very important sentence. The key to responding a care receiver's negative thinking is to use a lot of reflective listening, validation of the care receiver's feelings, and follow-up questions. Resist the urge to jump in and challenge the care receiver's thoughts, as doing so won't help anything. Instead, use your active listening skills and know that simply having someone to talk with may help a care receiver begin to deal with his or her negative feelings. Everybody remember what we were taught about reflective listening? When they say something to you like a question, reflect that back to them in another question. It shows that you're listening, it shows that you care, but more importantly, it gives them a chance to answer their own question. So you said you're angry. Can you tell me about your anger? Well, I'm just so mad at my husband because he did da 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 da. Well, it seems like your husband not doing ABC really disturbed you. Why? Can I ask why it bothered you so much? The key to responding to a care receiver's negative thinking is to use a lot of reflective listening. I've read that already, haven't I? In some cases, the care receiver may get stuck in his or her negativity and begin to repeat the same thoughts. If so, continue to listen to the care receiver for as long as he or she needs to talk. Then, after the care receiver's sharing comes to an end, however long that takes, it's appropriate to offer some gentle encouragement. If you've been there for 15 minutes and they start in on a story that you've heard 10 times and it's a 15-minute story, don't look and say, oh, it's now, I gotta go. Let them finish the story, validate what they've told you, and say, that'll be a good place for us to start when I come visit you next week. Don't ever stay at a person's home until you have nothing else to talk about. Always leave with some questions or with some discussions hanging on, waiting until the next time you meet. If you talk till you sit there in silence, you've got nothing to talk about when you come back next week. Don't ever sit until there's nothing else left to talk about. You'll make your next meeting even that much more difficult.
And you could be there.
Ma'am?
And you could be there.
And you could be there several hours, exactly. You could be there much longer than you need to be there. Focus Note 13 on pages 306 and 307 shows an example of a care receiver expressing negative thoughts and a Stephen minister responding after some good listening. Sherry and Hazel, Focus Note 13. Hazel, your care receiver. Sherry, your Stephen minister. Hazel,
Yes.
your care receiver.
Okay. I hate feeling like this. I just want to feel normal again. But nothing seems to help. If I wasn't such a failure, I wouldn't be so depressed. I'm sick of this.
It's hard. It's hard not being able to shake off those feelings.
It is. I really just want to be over this already. I feel like I should be over it, but I'm not. And it's my fault. I wish I could just snap out of this.
I'd like to know more about what you mean. I'd like to know more about what you mean when you say it's your fault. Okay, thanks for sharing with me. I know you've been feeling pretty down on yourself lately, but I want to say that I don't see you as a failure at all. I've got a lot of confidence in you, and I'm going to be here for you through all this.
See, that's an excellent interaction. Notice what the Stephen minister did. I'd like to know what you mean by saying it's your fault. They asked that reflective question that gives that person a chance to open up about why they feel it's their fault. But then they bring the meeting to an end by saying, thanks for sharing with me. I know you've been feeling pretty down. I've got a lot of confidence in you and going to be here for you through all this. Wonderful way to end that meeting with something to talk about next week. You go out to your car, you take your notebook, and you make notes about why they feel they're a failure. And then next week when you come back, you say, well, last week you said that your marriage failed and that the kids seem to be having such a hard time and you think it's your fault. Well, why do you think it's your fault? That's an excellent way to bring a meeting to a close and have something to talk about next time. It's possible that the negative thinking of a care receiver who is depressed may turn into a downward spiral. In a spiral, a care receiver begins to think more and more negative thoughts, falling deeper into depression and becoming unable to distinguish negativity from reality. For example, the person may begin to call him or herself names or express beliefs that he or she is inherently a bad person. Downward spirals are almost always a sign that a care receiver needs professional help. If you see someone going into a downward spiral, first thing you do is come talk to me and tell me what's going on. We'll talk about how you possibly can use your next meeting to maybe turn that around. If you in the next meeting can't turn around that downward spiral, it keeps getting worse, then you come to me and I contact them and go see them with a list of professional caregivers. Because if you can't stop it, just sitting there going along with it, it's just going to get worse and worse. If you can't stop that downward spiral, then come see me. Maybe together we can stop it. Or, Stephen, once again, I keep bringing up these supervision meetings, but that's why these supervision meetings are so important. Because you can tell them, well, my care receiver said X, Y, Z, and it's, they've been doing that for 3 weeks, and all they do is talk about how bad they are, and I can't seem to change the conversation. Well, supervision can give you some examples, maybe of some things to say, but more than that, maybe the ones who help you realize it's time to call a professional in. I cannot stress enough how important that supervision meeting is. Number 7, follow the care receiver's lead in using the word depression. Another way to care for those with mild or moderate depression is to be sensitive about labeling your care receiver's experience as depression when talking with him or her. Although we've used the term depression throughout this module, it is typically, and I highlighted this, encourage you to underline this, it is typically best not to use the word with the care receiver unless he or she brings it up. If they don't bring up the word depression, don't you bring up the word depression. Let them identify what their feelings are. That you're not there to identify feelings, you're there to listen to feelings. For example, if a care receiver says something like, I've been so depressed lately, it's okay to use the word depression in your conversations. Otherwise, you're better off avoiding the word so as not to express a care receiver or give what may sound like a diagnosis. Remember, we are not cure givers. God is the cure giver. We are the caretaker. God is the cure giver. Jesus bound up the wounds and took the Samaritan to the innkeeper for the innkeeper to be a caregiver. We are the innkeeper. We are not the one that stopped and helped the Good Samaritan. That's the job of Jesus, to bind wounds and help heal. We are the innkeepers. We are the caregivers, not the answer giver. One exception is when you believe your care receiver may be severely depressed. Because of the seriousness of the situation, go ahead and use the word depression so you can clearly communicate your care and concern. 15-minute break. When we come back, we'll look more at guidelines for caring for those with mild or moderate depression. It's now about 10 after. Let's come back at 25 after.
Question.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
If we ever become depressed, then I'm not seriously depressed.
That's, once again, that's what supervision is.
I
Absolutely.
want to tell y'all, just y'all.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't usually see me crying.
Huh?
But I'm again crying, that's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
I have my cancer patients that I went to see. It's fine. I mean, we interact, that's always, they're all different, but they're a good thing. So I had looked for Helen, where Helen was at the hospital, came back by then. And he was there, Helen, they were both there. She was still in the, I don't know if she went to,
Not yet, she hasn't.
she was in the bed and she was all bright and cheery when she first
That's how-
started talking. And David, and he was just like not there. He
Wow.
was just like wiped out, and they talked a bit and they talked about going to Florida, which is a good thing. They were
Yes.
placed down
They were making plans.
But I probably stayed there about 15 minutes. And Liz was glad to, and she was really talking, he was talking pretty quietly. When I got out in the hall, I had to come for it. I cannot tell you, I love this experience, I like right on there. Quick over to the nurse's station, went and gave me a whole bunch of Kleenex. But, so where do I get on this list?
As a caregiver, it is easily to become too involved or to begin feeling your own depression. When you have a bad, Yeah. when you've had a bad session like, when you've had a bad session like that, you call me, and if I'm in the office, I clear my schedule to talk to you.
It's not that I never cry, but that was just a.
If you can't get me, then, yeah.
Call me.
If you can't get me, Sandra, if you're female, you're all females, Sandra's your next phone call. Yes, ma'am, it can happen. Go back to the mud hole. If you remember, we talked about if you're not careful, you get stuck in the mud with them. It can definitely happen.
If you feel
The advantage you have is you have people that you can pick up the phone and they will let you say all that you need to say. It will be confidential and no one else will know what happened. That's your salvation when it comes to being a caregiver, is other people to listen to. If I'm in town and in the office, I'll clear my schedule. If I'm not, your next phone call is Sandra.
Well,
If Sandra doesn't answer the door, your next
I
phone call.
didn't know if y'all ever had that.
Yes. I go on home visits where I come back to the office, close the door, and bawl my eyes out.
I sat and cried with the person before.
Yeah, that's
And that's okay. Sometimes sometimes it's emotional. You can cry with them.
I'm not
And
telling
not-
anybody.
Being a caregiver is, people always talk about how hard it is to take care of people, older parents in the home. That's extremely hard to do, okay? But let me tell you, being a caregiver can be a very heavy burden and can be hard to do.
Oh, yeah.
Once again, the advantage is you have people who have been there and done it, and they're ready to talk. Oh, listen, I should say, they're ready to listen.
Clarify to me who the supervision group is.
It's the supervision group is led by Sandra, and it's the head leaders. Actually, everybody attends it. It's
Stephen Leaders
Monthly-
and Stephen
it's
Ministers.
the monthly meeting for all Stephen ministers.
No, the supervision group is mainly for the Stephen ministers.
Yes.
There's separate meeting for Stephen leaders.
We have different meetings.
But we do all
Supervision is
of
for all of the for all the caregivers.
yeah, the supervision group is mainly for the caregivers and, whichever Stephen leaders can be there this time.
We've got one right now that I just recommended for a caregiver the other day, yesterday, day before yesterday, in the last couple of days. That I recommended for a caregiver because I know the situation and it's getting pretty bad and they're gonna need some help. So,
That's who it is. It's the three of us, Bob, Stephen, Roger.
right, that's the Stevens leaders meeting.
Later, okay.
Supervision is all Stephen ministers.
Which reminds me, I need to talk to you two about that.
Oh, okay.
Monday is supposed to be our
What?
supervision.
It was
Monday.
yesterday.
And Bob's not gonna be here, I know. I know we missed last month's meeting, but do we want to go ahead and pay the email? We've only got one person. Everything's going well. But my thing is, we got so many meetings, and we're gonna go into this supervision thing, it's coming up real soon.
Yeah. I am booked pretty solid Monday.
Okay, that was my thing. If
I'm booked pretty solid Monday. Speaking of Monday, I won't be here next Wednesday.
I won't either.
Well, Craig's gonna do pretty much the whole thing.
Who is?
His son.
Craig Montgomery, he was
His son.
chief of police.
Yeah, I remember, I know that.
Or assistant chief of police. He's gonna do most of suicide.
Oh, next week? Okay, good, 'cause,
I take the rest of it.
I will be at Ridgecrest, North Carolina. That's the pastor's
I
retreat
didn't know
next
you
week.
wouldn't be here, but
Yeah.
and I can easily do.
Bob's
Okay.
supposed to be.
Bob should be back to help out with it.
Girl has an appointment down here.
Okay, yeah, I'm on my
can't be
pants.
here. We gotta be there at 10 o'clock, so.
Then I come back, I'm here Sunday morning and I leave Sunday afternoon, but I'll be back Tuesday night. So I'll be here the next
I did
week.
not think Bob was gonna be here. He is.
He's on the schedule.
Okay.
He's on the schedule.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He did the
That's right.
schedule,
That's right.
so I'm
Yeah.
assuming he's gonna be here.
It was Bob's.
And I've already told him I won't be there, and I don't think he put me on the schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Oh, he just shifted the schedule up, and I was already on it.
Yeah.
And it was
But
Bob.
I had
that's
already told him I
It
wouldn't be here.
It was Bob
But I told him.
that suggested we use Craig.
Okay.
We've done that before. Craig has done this before.
Okay.
Now that's Carolyn's son.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah.
I told Bob I would, and he said, no problems, we'll fill it,
But
so.
actually, if we needed somebody in a panic to do one of these, Gerald or Carolyn,
Either one could do them. It's true.
Well, if they were
I
available.
try not to be gone on Wednesdays because there's so much going on. I try not to be gone on Wednesdays, but this retreat is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Actually, it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Tuesday, I fly out. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is the retreat. Saturday, I fly home. So,
Well, and taking these appointments when you're going like to UAB, you take what they can give you.
exactly.
that's
When you're anxious to get something done, when they say, can you be here? You say, yeah, I'll be there. Because you don't really have any choices about it.
Kenley's appointments with Dr. Losi, her eye specialist, I take whatever they give us.
That's all we can do.
That's all I can do.
My
3 weeks.
eye specialist, Dr. Bain, is exactly the same way. I do what she tells me to do.
I take them just as soon as I take the first one I can get and I tell them we will be there. And then Kenley overslept and missed the last one. Made me so mad. First appointment we have missed in 20 years. And she fell asleep at at her house. Oh, I was so mad.
Frustration. So,
I'm just set up with-
yeah, and I think we're just gonna skip that one because he's not gonna be here and Bob's not gonna be here. And I've already talked to Carolyn and all's good with her. And she's the
Well,
only
I'll
one.
be here Monday. I'm just booked in the office.
That's fine. That's fine. I've already talked to Carolyn. To make sure everything was okay with her. And Hilda doesn't really officially follow hers anymore. I mean, she's still,
Yeah.
but she's not really. In fact, she said she could take somebody else now.
Session yesterday, a person said, "Did I hurt your feelings that you're leaving?"
Well, I was thinking that we don't really have a lot to do. I mean, I could do a program, but I don't think and I think everybody right now is just kind of overwhelmed with all this going on. So my inclination was I hate to skip another one, but I think we will.
Well, but
Have you had a chance to meet with the one you and I discussed?
No, I went to see her. She wasn't there.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
I'm going to call her this afternoon and see if I can catch up with her. I didn't have time yesterday.
I'm worried.
I know, I am too. I talked to her Friday, I think it was. But yeah,
Maybe it was Saturday, I went to see
is somebody
her. She
staying?
was so negative.
Is somebody staying with her now?
I think the son is,
Well, I know he came over, but I wonder if he had to go back to work.
you know, he's not retired.
No, he's been really trying to come when he can, but I don't know that
She may not.
she didn't have anybody with her when this all happened. She was alone.
She was the,
So, I don't know, but I'm going to try to. I'm going to try to talk.
she needs somebody.
Yeah.
speaking of depression and everything,
Mm-hmm.
has anybody talked to Gene? What's his name? With Joe?
Oh, with,
Wife.
I've talked till I'm blue in the face.
They're not coming.
I've talked till I'm blue in the face. I can't even go see him. He won't let him, he doesn't want anybody in the house. I've talked until I'm blue in the face.
Can't help somebody.
No,
You can't help it.
Can't.
and that's why I don't feel real guilty about Gene, because I've tried and tried and tried. If I call him, he'll talk to me on the phone, but I don't like doing it on the phone.
Have you been in there?
No, he won't let me in. I can tell you he would. He made it very clear to me the first time I asked to come visit, he told me, he said the house has got all of this stuff that we moved out of the storage, and there are boxes everywhere, and there are things stored, and until we get our lives back together, I really don't want anybody to see the house. And exactly, I was sitting there thinking, you're fooling yourself, brother. If you think your life is going to get back together as bad as your wife is, you're fooling yourself.
You know,
He's got to do something.
I can kind of relate to his feelings, and I understand that he's grieving the life they had, for one thing, and he wants it back, and it's hard to accept that it ain't gonna come back.
It's not coming.
This is your new life, and
Yeah, this is
you
your
gotta
life.
deal with it.
Exactly right.
So it's
Not that I've ever mentioned. I shouldn't say no. I've never heard it mentioned. They do.
I have a question. Do you know whatever happened to Elise? Roy and Elise, he died.
They took her to a care home somewhere up north.
Okay.
She's
I've thought about her I don't know how many times and wondered what that was such sweet people.
I don't know what all happened. Either she or he. I don't know which one. Got extremely violent, literally over.
He did. Because I saw that. I was there at the hospital that day when he got.
They did.
And it literally was over.
Yeah.
It literally was.
He's such a gentleman too. That was
You know what my experience is? Gentle a person is. Yeah.
He got Alzheimer's and then he got she had to take every still she was like it was just
So you worked until the 20th.
I got to release so I was kind of Tuesday will be looking. I hate that. I gotta take it Tuesday or whatever.
That's the worst thing about doing it.
Don't make sure I get some money before I leave.
Nothing you can do. It is extremely depressing. Because you know I had to.
I still have to pay the gas.
How old are you? think I was 60, so it's really 63 or 65 when I started drawing myself.
Well, Chris told me not, Chris Mann is on the phone. He said he was a job like 2 years ago.
Well, I didn't wait until the suggested date. I went 2 years earlier. I wished I'd have waited.
If you, he said 65, but if I wait till next 7 and act, that would be 10, that would be almost 1 I mean, that's been my full.
Well, you don't have to start drawing.
And accept that.
No, but if I don't have it, they don't pay my bill. I have bills to bring my list.
So this is, and figure out.
This takes a lot of.
I mean, what you want, you'll know what.
Unfortunately, get to that point, and I'm like, that's what I'm saying, I gotta see how much. Cause you pay for it. You know, it's. Ever can get, I'm just gonna take. And that, we get paid that. Resources for the Christmas. Well, that's what she said. I'm not gonna take like, you know, but I tried to follow it, but I'm seeing it. You know, if I work at Kill work, I still only make 25. Make sure I talked to her. She was trying to, she had still make it. And they since we do that. No, but the way it says for every dollar you earn over there, then you. You draw, they take out $2. Well, I heard that it was $2. They said they reduced it to $1, but you stay for every $2 you earn, they take out. They're like, this is, the way this says, it says, you can earn it when it's for full retirement age, 24, 40. Benefit $2 earned above the limit. And then it says, earning limit for the year, full retirement age 65. Full retirement, and only that. And then it says, read if you earn above that, even if you draw, you're gonna have to pay, so that's what I'm saying. That's what
Your last day is the 27th.
get paid, that's what I'm, that's my plan. That's my plan.
And you can play both of us that month. Oh, the real player goes first.
I was concerned about that. He first.
See, we're in the smoke.
I've got it.
Yeah.
When they first started coming, and, well, they were going to volunteer for CCC.
Right.
There's a magic who's here.
That's recording. Mr. O'Hare.
And
And I won't.
Angel says now,
This next month, because they, in April is when they pay first, Steve pay raise. It's 4%. I already know what my percentage is. I already see it's everything.
no, he's,
It already shows.
Good. Okay, folks, let's get the other, let's do, starting on number 8 of the 12 things that I forgot now what they call the 12. What they call the 12? Somebody help me out here.
which one are you?
12 guidelines for caring for people with mild and moderate depression. We're on number 8. Discourage self-defeating behavior. Good luck at doing that. Good luck at discouraging self-defeating behavior. That's not an easy thing to do. Once they get to that point. Okay, we're on page 307 of the outline. A care receiver who is feeling depressed may talk about quitting a job, dropping out of school, ending an important relationship, selling a long-time home, or making another major life decision that might adversely affect his or her future. Such choices may seem like a good idea to a care receiver who is feeling depressed, but he or she may regret those actions after recovering. Encourage your care receiver to avoid making significant or potentially harmful decisions while feeling depressed. This is another one that I highlighted. Although Stephen ministers typically do not give advice, it's often appropriate in situations like this to offer an opinion, make a suggestion, or even make an agreement with the care receiver to delay making a major decision until he or she is feeling better. If they've lost a spouse, if they've lost a child, if they've lost a mom or a dad, if they have lost someone really close to them, encourage them to do nothing for 1 year. Encourage them to wait 1 year. Research has shown time and time again, 1 year is about the best period for reflection without so many feelings being involved in it. I begged my mother to wait. She waited 3 months and she started giving my dad stuff away. Now there's things she wishes she had back. Had she listened to her son, God forbid, she would have waited at least another 6 months. But now there are things given away that
She'll never get back.
she'll never get back
Or never find.
or never find. In these instances, intervening to some extent is necessary to prevent harm to the care receiver. Focus Note 14 contains an example of how you might conduct a conversation like this, where two people read the focus note. All right, this time, Francis, you're the care receiver, and Hilda, you're the Stephen minister. Hilda.
You'll ain't here.
Hazel.
Just said Hilda.
I said Hazel. Oh, what's your name? Be the Stephen minister. I'm just going to start calling you what's your name.
Now, what am I?
You're the Stephen minister. What's your name?
I've decided to quit my job. Are you listening to me?
I got to read it first. All right, go ahead.
I've decided to quit my job.
That's a big change to make. Terry, how do you come to that decision? So I just don't feel like.
That's Francis.
Okay. So, I just don't feel like working in this field anymore.
Let's see. You're really feeling fulfilled by your job right there. I'm wondering though, if you really need to quit immediately, it might be a good idea to do it. You can always quit your job. But if you quit it now and want to go back later, you're not going to be able to.
Well, I suppose it wouldn't hurt to wait a while.
You can take that time to think through your situation before doing anything.
As shown in this example, the first step to do is a lot of listening, making sure that the care receiver feels heard. In fact, as the care receiver talks to the reasons for making the decision, he or she may come to the conclusion on his or her own that it's not a good time to make that decision. If they don't come to that conclusion, it's good to warn against a potentially harmful course of action and suggest alternatives. The care receiver, however, ultimately has the right to make decisions for him or herself, even if they might have negative conflicts. The exception to this is when there is a possibility of physical harm to the care receiver or others. As the confidentiality module and upcoming session on suicide make clear, if such a situation arises, you'll want to consult with our Stephen Ministry crisis contacts, myself or Sandra. And if necessary, call emergency services right away. Help your care receiver think through positive steps. Page 308. Sometimes people who are depressed find themselves immobilized by indecision, uncertainty, a lack of motivation, or other characteristics of depression. They may find it difficult to think through the next steps to take actions that they know will help them feel better. This inability to act can worsen someone's depression as the person feels bad about not making any progress or getting anything done. When a care receiver who is feeling depressed struggles in this way, one helpful thing you can do is to invite the care receiver to think through some small, constructive steps he or she can take. These might be enjoyable activities to try, productive tasks to do, or possible changes to make. Avoid giving advice or telling your care receiver what to do. Remember, we are not answer givers. We don't give answers. We don't cure people. We simply listen to people. But if he or she is open to change, provide an opportunity for your care receiver to think through possibilities. By taking some small steps, the care receiver can build momentum, regain motivation to move on to other tasks while remaining hopeful and a feeling of control. How you help a care receiver in this way will depend on the care receiver's specific situation. Focus Note 15 contains one example of how a Stephen minister might help a care receiver talk about positive steps. Okay, Francis, you're the Stephen minister, and Sherry, you're the care receiver.
I just feel so bad about everything right now. It's not just the breakup either. Not keeping up with some of the stuff around my apartment, and lately I have felt like going out with my friends. I'm sick of this. I don't know where to start.
It sounds like you want to make some changes, but you're having a hard time getting yourself to take action.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me about some of the chores or errands you feel you're not keeping up with at home.
I don't know. It's been a while since I've cleaned my apartment, and I feel like I've been just living off microwavable food for the last few days.
Maybe you can just start with something small. What's one errand you think you can
I guess to maybe go to the store today and get some groceries. Maybe I'd feel better if I actually had something to eat.
That sounds like a good idea to me.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot later today.
Stephen minister says, tell you what, how about you go do it as soon as I leave? That's the only one of these that I've not agreed with. Set a time. Because if they say, I'll do it later today, guess what happens? So you say, well, tell you what, how about as soon as I leave, we leave together and you go to the store and I'll go on home. Set a time for them to go do it. As you talk with your care receiver about possible steps, remember to follow his or her lead. Don't pressure your care receiver into doing something he or she doesn't feel up to. Instead, ask questions to get the care receiver thinking about tasks he or she wants to complete, and then, as needed, make a gentle suggestion to give the care receiver a little motivation. If he or she still doesn't want to take action, that's okay. Allow the care receiver to go at his or her own pace. We're on page 310. Whoa.
310. What happened to 310?
My page is stuck together. We're on page 309. My page is stuck together. Another way to help a care receiver is to work with him or her to identify what changes or events in life led to the feelings of depression. Even if it seems obvious why a care receiver is feeling depressed, it can be helpful to encourage the care receiver to talk about his or her situation to clearly identify the root of those feelings. By making the cause more concrete in the care receiver's mind, he or she can see his or her feelings of depression as something possible to deal with. Hazel, you're the care receiver, and Francis, you're the Stephen minister.
I'm so depressed.
What's led you to feeling depressed?
I just don't know.
That's okay. When did you start this?
Well, I guess maybe sometime last week.
Did you remember anything in particular that happened last week? How hard it not?
Nothing really. Just, now that I think about it, I guess I started feeling bad after being your friend for lunch on Wednesday.
Tell me more about that.
Well, we spent some time catching up, and we talked for a while about my friend's new job. And I remember that I couldn't stop thinking that I haven't been able to find work since I was laid off.
Ooh, you need a new friend.
Yeah.
You need a new friend. I know we're not I know we don't do cures, but I'd almost be tempted to say you need a new friend. Identifying the cause or causes of depression often takes longer than a simple conversation. In some cases, a care receiver might not be able to come up with the specific cause. But this example gives us an idea of how you might help a care receiver think through the reasons he or she is feeling depressed. When a care receiver is able to recognize the cause of his or her feelings of depression, it can be a step toward finding hope. I highlighted this also. By identifying a cause, the care receiver can come to see the sequence of events that led to the feelings of depression. You can help them figure out the events that led to depression. Sometimes it's not, like in this case of losing a job, your receiving minister may not know that you got laid off. So going back and figuring out what led to the depression may give your Stevens minister some information they need.
If you have an idea where they might could find a job, or there might be jobs available, can you get into that or not?
Oh, yes.
Okay, I mean, it just kind of ended there without saying.
Yeah, we have, I have some resources.
Okay.
Say words like you said, they might.
Yeah, they might go see. They might look
We
into.
have, like, I mean, we know about people.
Well, is it okay to suggest to your care receiver when you may want to go check with the, whatever, like, see if we find a job, what do you call it?
Unemployment office.
Yeah.
Around here, there are several good job placement services. Onan is one of them. Isn't it Onan? Out on the left, Onan. Onan is probably the biggest and the best known.
But is it okay to suggest those things?
Yes. Yeah, if they've been laid off and they've been laid off for several weeks and they're depressed and I just don't know what I'm going to do, you may come back and say, well, I know that you may not have done this before, but Onan Staffing helps people like you find a permanent job.
One more thing there where the Stephen minister tells them where they can go look.
Yes.
Well, we didn't.
I mean, really, I'm not.
Yes. Yes. If I'm a caregiver and yeah. Yes. If you know you can be helpful, then yes, you do that. All right, we're on page 310. You can also note your hope in your care receiver by recognizing and affirming small improvements. For example, you may note that your care receiver seems to have worked through some anger or seems to have more energy than the last time you met. Helping your care receiver become more aware of those improvements can be a powerful way to help him or her see that change is possible. I've had situations where somebody, well, I just haven't done anything for weeks. Well, actually, you did this, or you did that, or things that I know they've done. I'll remind them they did it. I noticed I've noticed that, you've rearranged the house, so I noticed that you've changed some things. Any small improvements that you can see is an advantage to you, because then you have a way to kind of help them see that, yes, they have made some improvements. If they go to the job and they say, well, I went to Onan, but they didn't have anything. Well, let's look and see what other sources there are. Because Onan's not the only one. It's just the biggest one in this area that I know of. Finally, number 12, exactly what you asked about. Finally, at times, you might support your care receiver by sharing Christian resources and assurances, as you learned about in Christian Caring, A Way of Life, Module 4. Distinctively Christian caring. Some care receivers may genuinely appreciate hearing a prayer or scripture verse, while others might experience difficult feelings or increased feelings of depression when faith or spiritual issues are brought up, particularly if spiritual struggles are connected to the depression. I never pray in a hospital room until I ask the person, may I pray with you? Even when it's our own church members, I don't assume that they're in a place or that they're in the mood to hear me pray. I always ask permission to do that. Listen carefully and use these resources only when a care receiver is likely to be receptive to them. One key resource to consider is prayer. Prayer can be a wonderful gift for those who are feeling depressed, reminding them that God is present and listening. It also allows care receivers to share their burdens with God and with the Stephen minister instead of carrying them alone. 11:28 is a great one. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. That's our theme for Easter. Our theme for Easter is come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. You're going to see a lot about that during Easter.
11:28 what?
Matthew 11:28. You might offer to pray aloud with your care receiver if he or she is willing. It seems like the right time to do so. Encourage your care receiver to bring his or her concerns to God in prayer. If you're going to pray with someone, ask them before you pray, what can I pray about for you? Don't assume you know. Yes, they may be in the hospital sick, but that may not be the biggest thing on their mind right then. I was visiting with someone several years ago, and I asked them, I said, can I pray for you? And she said, yes, please do. What would you like for me to pray about today? And she said, my biggest concern is resources to pay this hospital bill. That was her biggest concern. That was her prayer request. How am I going to pay for this hospital bill? Don't assume you know what to pray. Another tool that can make a difference is forgiveness. Forgiveness is always good. As mentioned in the pre-class reading, guilt over specific actions, failing to meet expectations, or other reasons can be confronting factors to some people's depression. Folks, this is important. Guilt over actions, failing to meet reasons. If someone has done something to someone else, we talk about this in Celebrate Recovery all the time. If it's going to hurt them, or if it's going to hurt maybe their spouse, then don't go to them to talk it out. If you've had an affair with somebody's husband and you feel horrible about it, don't go to her to apologize. She may not know about it. Do your best to encourage them to make amends, except when making amends would hurt someone else. That's exactly the way that Celebrate Recovery puts it. It's actually the same way that AA puts it also. Be aware of that. When you allow care receivers to talk about those feelings and, after doing a lot of listening, share some words of forgiveness as appropriate, that can be a powerful way to allow them to work through one of the possible root causes of their depression. Scripture is an important resource as well, with many passages that a person who is feeling depressed may appreciate. However, the Bible must be used sensitively. Must be used sensitively. After doing a lot of listening, if it seems appropriate, then share a scriptural passage or Bible story that meets the care receiver's needs. When used at the right time and in the right way, such assurance can be a powerful way to give comfort and instill hope. While Doyle is doing this next, well, let me finish this up and then I'll say this. Finally, Christian community is another caring resource for people who are depressed. If your care receiver is struggling but wants to interact with people, Engaging fellow Christians can be a beneficial way to connect to others and experience community. People have different needs and comfort levels, so ask your care receiver what he or she would prefer. Some people want to be part of a larger crowd at Sunday morning worship. Others may feel more comfortable in a small group setting. If your care receiver seems open to relating with other Christians, help him or her figure out what type of size gathering he or she would most appreciate. While Doyle is doing number 3, I'm going to go make some copies. I have a list of scriptures that I use that are appropriate, especially when someone is dealing with depression. And I'll make a copy of that and share that with you.
Thank you. I was gonna ask that question.
I have a paper. I have a set that I use. Let me go make a copy of that.
Skill practice. Caring for people who are feeling mildly or moderately depressed. Look at, we're on page 311. Based on what we've covered today, you can see as a Stephen ministry that you can do a lot of care for care receivers who are mildly or moderately depressed. In these 3 skill practices, you will each have a chance to practice what you've learned. First, form a group of 3. Can you do that?
Yes. you can.
And taking your manuals with you, because stay where you are. You'll have a care receiver, caregiver, and an observer. So you decide who's what.
3 women.
Just decide who's A, B, and C, because it's gonna swap up.
What?
Just decide who's A and who's B and who's C, because the roles are gonna switch up.
Yeah. Who is A and who is B and who is C?
Break up into different groups, or,
Yeah, but you broke up into one group.
okay. All right.
That is for when there's 20 people in the class. All right. Notice that the Stephen minister, who's going to be the Stephen minister, read focus note 17. Who's going to be the care receiver is 18. So 17, the Stephen minister, the care receiver reads 18. And don't read the other one.
Are you gonna assign things?
Just assign A, B, C.
All right, I'll sign ABC. A, B, C. You're C.
So
A, B, C. A, B, observer.
I'm the observer.
No, you're A.
What is A?
Oh, A is the Stephen minister. I'm sorry. B is the care receiver and C is the observer.
You'll swap roles up later. So this is for this.
Sherry is the observer, Francis is the care receiver, and Hazel is the Stephen minister. I should have said it that way to begin with.
You want me to read?
You just take it, yes. But you just read it yourself first. You just understand what your instructions are.
Oh, okay.
And you will, you read 17, Francis, do what they say in 18. And then you can read both of them, Sherry, or none of them. When you understand what your instructions are there,
Not really, but I'll be okay.
All right, here's Stephen Minister. You've been meeting with your care receiver for about a year and a half since their spouse died. That's just giving background. And really, nothing, you don't have any other directions, and your care receiver will start the process, and then you respond accordingly.
Okay.
Are we ready?
Yeah,
I can't believe this is happening.
Since you give the same sense. What's happening?
Well, my husband passed away and that's been a while. And then my neighbors moved in. Now that's, I thought I was kind of getting over or beginning to get over it, but now with, my friend leaving, I just don't know what I want to do. I mean,
Well, what do you think you should do?
I don't know. That's what I'm talking to you.
I'm the only one on it.
Well, was that not the right answer?
That may be one of my favorite.
Well, what are you in for?
Real quick.
I'm here to listen.
Well, I just don't know. I just can't. I lost my husband and now my best friend is leaving. I just don't know what I'm gonna do.
Well, there's always possibility of finding new friends.
But, I'm still kind of staying in a lot. I mean, it's tough to find new friends.
I'm sure it's true. Sure it's true. Well, sometimes you have to be a friend to get a friend. Oh, we're doing very well with these things.
Sometimes I just get depressed. I don't like that feeling. I don't like, but I don't know what to do.
What makes you think you're depressed?
Uh,
no, that's not a bad question. That's good, that's good.
Oh, well, okay. Don't say it. Somebody's been there, but I'm depressed.
Yeah.
But I just, I used to get out. I did things and I would go out. I just seems so out of my. I don't, it's like I lost what I had, I don't feel like getting out. I mean, physically I do, but then I could never motivate myself to get out. I mean, look at it, it's getting raining out there, and when you go look how pretty it is, but I just want to look at it. I can't proud of getting out. And
What do you normally do in the springtime when things start getting green and pretty?
well, my husband and I did a lot of it.
I've been lost now.
Maybe I just maybe I need to think about the things we did. Oh, I might, now that I'm thinking, I might maybe. We used to drive around and watch everybody, maybe I could do that, just get out one day and see how that went.
What are some things you and your husband did together?
In the springtime, we would go out, drive out, to the lake, and see how everything's blooming and go out to eat. We did a lot of things. And, suddenly that's all done.
You don't have anybody else that you're close to?
No.
Nobody? Nobody.
Not anybody that lives here. My
Okay.
family all lives away.
Okay, let's go on to the next. That you see, 19. It really is not clear at first. What y'all just did was skill practice 1. You see there
Okay.
on 19. We're going to go on to skill practice 2, and this one, Sherry, you will be Sherry will be A. Hazel will be B, you will be the Stephen Minister, Sherry. B, you will be the care receiver, Hazel. And you will be the observer, Francis. And that's the actual skill practice two is on
Now where you
focus note 20.
20, focus note 20.
'21 for the care receiver.
Yeah, 21. Yeah, I'm sorry, 20 and 21.
21 is for the care receiver region, 20 is for the Stephen minister.
I'm a state minister, right?
Oh, you're the observer.
Yeah, Sherry's the Stephen minister.
So Sherry is the Stephen minister, Hazel is the care receiver, and Francis is the observer. In other words, you don't have to do anything, Francis.
Okay.
I haven't read it all. Listen.
I really like this one.
I just feel so depressed. I made a major boo-boo, and my boss reprimanded me right in front of a bunch of people, and it's all my fault.
Why do you feel that way?
Because he yelled at me in front of other people.
Do you think he should have took you to the side instead of yelling at you?
I think so.
It's, I mean,
This is the problem. This is a very real problem, and it'll happen.
it happens. They do that at work now. They don't take you in the back no more. They just go in front of everybody.
Well, I just feel like, to be fair to me, he maybe should have taken me aside or stepped me down and talked to me, but yell at me in front of all those people. That really made me feel bad.
Then why do you feel like it's your fault?
Yeah.
Do I?
Then why do you feel like it's your fault?
Because he, well, I don't know. It says so.
What, you think you might stay? What, you think you might say that differently?
It was a mistake. It wasn't intentional.
Okay. Then, as I said first, he or she should have took you in the office or took you to the side where nobody else could hear.
Good comeback is always, tell me more about why you think that, or tell me more about why you
You're
think
not
that.
looking to give a cure.
I don't know what the mistake was. It doesn't say.
No, you're just supposed to be obnoxious, really. You keep giving to some chunk saying the same
I'm
thing.
supposed to be what?
Obnoxious. Just you keep saying that I'm depressed. I don't feel right. It's my thought.
It's my fault. I should have been paying more attention. Yes.
What mess it
Why you
up?
feel like it's your fault?
I can't answer that.
That, because when you're depressed, you think everything.
That's right.
When you're depressed, everything is because of something you did. I mean, that's just a feeling that you have. And the Stephen minister's job is to encourage you to keep talking about how you feel and what other feelings are you having about this. And a lot of these things that are you shouldn't be feeling, you are. And we own our own feelings. We can't change that. So the Stephen minister is just to keep encouraging them to look deeper, into, do you think there was something that you do you feel like there may have been something that you should have done differently, or why, is there a reason you're feeling this way? But really, you shouldn't ask that because it is a normal thing. Let them have the feelings they have.
This actually happened to me.
Well, it would help if they would tell you what you've done.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. But a lot of times the care receiver, they're dwelling on their problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it would help, but it's not your job to help the sleeping minister. It's her job to get it out of.
Well,
Yeah.
unfortunately, about the only thing you do is get them to talk about it.
My situation wasn't sleeping minister thing. My wife hit me with a divorce in real life. And Tennessee is a no-fault state. She didn't say I want a divorce. She says I have filed for divorce. And when one person files for divorce, that's it. The other person has no objection to it. And I was pretty much depressed. I was just like that. I just keep saying, well, what am I doing? Why? She says, I want to.
So you needed some help working through your feelings
That's
and
right.
getting past it.
And my church didn't have a Stephen ministry thing, a Stephen ministry, but I did what I should do. I went and talked to my pastor. I tried to get her to go with me, but I couldn't. My pastor, I don't think he had ever had Stephen ministry training, but he handled it exactly correct.
Well, most pastors are trained in many
Yeah,
of those
yeah,
type of
that's right.
situations anyway, even if it's not Stephen Minister,
But,
but they are trained in it.
It's not always going to be easy to get past a feeling of depression.
And blaming yourself is something that they may not get past for weeks after. I mean, in depression, you gotta let them own their feelings.
That's
Like, they feel what they feel. And if you try to tell them that if they shouldn't feel that way, then you're belittling their feelings. And it makes them feel even worse. I'm sorry, I have dealt with depressed relatives my whole time. It's in my family. So I've dealt with, and I wish I had known what I know now years ago. It would have helped me tremendously. But if you tell them, well, you have any reason to feel that way, or you shouldn't feel that way, it hurts because you feel like that they don't understand why you're feeling. Well, you gotta let them have their feelings and just try to encourage them to talk about reasons that they logical reasons that they feel that way. And if they can't, you try to get them to talk about the situation, what they think they can do about the situation, or something else. But let them have their feelings. You can't talk them out of their feelings.
That's right. And you don't go trying to be the caregiver.
No,
That's the temptation.
we want to fix it. We want to try to fix
We want to fix it. That's
it.
right.
And
Well, I'm sorry.
no, don't.
No, don't be sorry. You did exactly what the
Sherry was
situation called for here.
not an easy situation. But they're not really ready to delve much into it. You just can try to reroute it to a discussion of something else. Well, what happened that night that this all occurred? Explain, do you know exactly what happened that went on that day? Can you talk about that? Let them, if they can talk about what actually happened and why it evolved that way, it's at least get them to look at it and think about it. But don't ever make them feel like their feelings are wrong.
Yeah, and
It's their feelings.
this was designed to do exactly this. It shows that those frustrating times are going to come.
To get you thinking about even talking about it.
All right, we're going on to focus group 22 now. Hazel, you will be the observer.
Thank God.
You will be the Stephen minister, and Sherry will be the Stephen receiver. I mean, the care receiver. I love these examples. Sherry, you're the care receiver, Sherry, and when you get ready, you start the thing. Look at that wind blowing out there.
Yeah, that's deep.
You ready?
Yes.
All right, take it.
My mother's been going downhill for a while now. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
I know, a few months ago, you and I, we were seeing each other then, and I know you had a real relationship with your mother, and, it's changing now? I mean, she's going down again, is that right? Is that what I'm hearing? I mean, she was, trying to fix something else.
Well, they seem to say she's recovering now. So I'm stuck. I don't know how I'm gonna take care of her and try to work at the same time.
Okay, I thought, it says she's gradually declining a bit since.
Well, the way this one states, it's she's gonna pass away, but she's gotten healthier.
But she's going down.
But she's going down again.
Yeah,
So
so, what, do you have,
this one's confusing.
yeah. Okay.
I was reading.
Me too.
This is hard.
Share about your spiritual struggle. Do not use the word depression to talk about how you were feeling. Like we know what we're talking.
Well, see, this one here states that she's, that she's gotten healthy, then she's gonna pass away, and then she's gotten bad.
But she's going downhill now.
Downhill now. And I think what it's saying is
It said,
you're feeling overwhelmed with the situation.
And when we first met, you were really involved, thinking your mother was going to pass away then, but she got better. And, but she's just slowly decaying.
I don't know what I'm gonna do.
this is a very common thing you're going to run across with people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what am I gonna do about it?
I'm glad you didn't give me this one.
No, this one's hard. This one's really hard. Well, they're all hard, because see, it's designed for the care receiver.
This one would be more for me.
Share everything. And, the share receiver is not being cooperative, and that's the way it's designed for.
I mean, I'm glad to know that, because
This one would be hard for me. I was Stephen Minister.
I couldn't picture that.
Because
That's the point here. These things are going to be hard. You're going to have them. In real life, you're talking to people, friends that have fun. It's not easy. I mean, I've talked to people a lot died. And that's tough. Or their wife is dying, or their husband is dying, or a child is dying.
And you're not gonna be able to fix it.
You're not, it's not fixable.
All you can do is to give them an opportunity to vent their frustrations, to express what they're feeling, and to work through some of the feelings. But you may spend a whole hour with them and never make a whole lot of progress because
They need to have someone that they can talk to.
and they need to talk. And if you
And
can
you're just sitting there with them.
Yes, sir.
sit there and encourage them to talk,
I mean, if they want to go back and forth, okay, but also.
you can set it aside.
It's said with me.
Yeah, and then eventually say, okay, we've obviously been contemplating this a while. Are you having any thoughts about this? Or, you know, is there something more coming to your mind that you'd like to talk about? But you may go several sessions that you don't feel like you've really made any real progress, but you're doing what you can do to help.
We talked about one of the prayer lessons, I don't remember which one it was. We talked about active listening. This is when active listening comes
I
in.
think here the care receiver, she went through this process a few months ago.
Yeah.
And
It's
here,
here we
now
go.
we're doing her again, and that's why she's so depressed. And she's feeling a little guilty because she's getting depressed from mother ain't even dead yet.
That's a good observer. Yes, that's exactly right.
I just,
You're a good observer. Okay,
oh my goodness.
so the whole purpose of this is to get the idea across. This ain't easy.
No, it's not easy.
Well, amen to that.
I knew it wouldn't be easy.
But that's why we're training you. That's why we're training
But
you.
I'm just saying, I've never heard it said like that.
Yeah. But that's why you go through all these training sessions and you go through these mock things to give you a feeling for some things you may confront and how it's not always going to be. And give you suggestions for how to handle it.
Pastor, it's time for you to finish this thing up.
That would be hard for me.
You ready to do the caregiver's compass, Pastor?
Yeah, if you're ready, Tony.
I'm ready.
I'm just sitting here playing solitude.
Uh-oh.
That's what I'm doing too. Are you ready for that? No.
All right, caregiver compass review. Our computer went to sleep.
They just tired.
We wait to feelings, right?
Mention my mind.
All right. Let's use the compass again to think about this module. You have a copy of the compass on page 315 in your outline. As we discuss the 4 points in the center of the compass, write words or sentences that summarize what you learned about each point. Let's begin with the point on top. What did you learn about being compassionate this week? Nothing?
I guess learning about how somebody feels.
Being compassionate about how they feel? Yes.
Empathy.
Learning to listen.
Sympathy, empathy.
That's, yeah. Patience.
Patience. Listening. How many times did it say, be a good listener? Being a good listener is compassionate.
I thought you meant new things that we haven't talked about.
No, it doesn't mean new things, things that you learned. This is about things that you learned this week. What about full of faith?
Always pray.
Be prayed up before you ever walk into that house or that room.
This problem takes more faith than anything.
Oh, it does.
Because it's not going to
Dealing with someone who has lost a loved one is extremely difficult.
or is losing.
Or is losing is extremely difficult. You deal with the fact that they feel like they should be able to do something. The loved one is dying. I should be able to do something. And you have to help them. You have to do your best to help them understand there's nothing that can be done.
You know, people think that if you be around somebody that's dying, some people think, well, they're getting repaired. You don't ever get repaired. Never. You live with whatever, but that's for that.
When somebody tells me, well, this has given me time to be prepared, Robert, my answer is, you're never prepared.
Yep.
You know, when it happens, it will hit you hard when it happens, whether it happens today or happens in a year, it still will hit you hard. Now, you may be cried out by the time it happens. You may have no tears left, but that feeling will be the same no matter how long you've had to get ready for it. These kind of situations, you better be prayed up. And if it's a very difficult situation, then call me and let me know. And I'll make a visit to the person if I need to. Skilled, we've done our best today to prepare you for someone suffering from depression because of a job loss, because of the loss of a loved one, because the loss. Let me tell you, people grieve. You let someone's house be repossessed, people grieve over houses, over losing a house.
People grieve over losing an animal.
Yes, people. Oh, never. Please, never take that too lightly. When someone loses an animal, for a lot of people, it's like they lost a member of the family. Grief is very real when an animal dies. You better believe it is.
But I have seen people that just almost didn't make it.
Oh,
They consider them as a child.
do what? Oh, yeah, a lot of people consider the dog as a child. You call CJ your baby all the time.
We had a dog that died after we had to have sleep after 20
Yep.
years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about somebody that's never had a kid or something.
Oh, it can be even more difficult because especially if the dog has lived like 15, 16 years, they've got a life invested, a long-term investment in this animal, and this is their caregiver. I pray to God my mother dies before Hobo does. Hobo's death might very well be the death of my mother. My mother lives by herself. She has one company, and that's her little puppy, Hobo. And when Hobo dies, my mother will grieve as if one of us had died. I have no doubt about that. She's had Hobo for 10 years. She's been caring for him for 10 years.
It's longer than 10 years.
He's younger than CJ. CJ's 11, isn't he?
Well, CJ will be 12 this year.
Then he'll be 11.
Your grandmother had him. Your grandmother had
He's a
him.
year younger than CJ.
But she had him before your
when-
grandmother died in 2016.
Yeah. When Hobo dies, that's my mother's companion. You better believe it will be very real.
You know,
I've done animal funerals. I've had families ask me to do a funeral, and I will. I've done a dog funeral, folks.
Yeah, I've seen a person, well, I know several people that have had animals and they passed away, but I had somebody who was probably telling this person, well, why are you upset about this? It was a dog. And that was the first time I just wanted to reach out. Because it was a lady that had lost her husband maybe 10 years ago, and she had had a dog, and I'm like, we can't, people feel.
Worst thing you can do is look at someone and say, it's just a dog.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing you can do to somebody. Ma'am,
You're belittling their
you're belittling their feelings. And if they're already suffering depression from the loss of that animal, and then you say it's just a dog, now they feel guilty for feeling so bad as if it's wrong to grieve the death of that dog. No, I've done dog funerals, folks.
is that because the person has passed away and they're using that dog as
the new
costume?
That's what Hobo is. Hobo's mom is the replacement of Grandma. Mom took care of Grandma for 2 years, now she's taking care of Hobo. Yes, it's very real. I got a phone call at 2 a.m. that someone's in the rain, someone's dog had been hit. I went out at 2 a.m. to sit with a lady who the dog had just gotten hit by a car. That was all the companionship she had. Her husband had died 15, 20 years before that. She never remarried. They had no kids. There was just her and a niece. I think she did have a niece or a nephew, but they weren't close. That dog, Golden Retriever, as a matter of beautiful Golden Retriever, was her only companion and had been for about 10 or 12 years. You better believe that grief is real.
Unfortunately, people who've never had a relationship with a pet
Don't understand it.
are not animal. My husband doesn't really understand because he's never
Yep.
been attached to an animal.
Yep.
So he doesn't really fully understand.
Yep.
And he's a good, caring person, but he doesn't understand that.
If you've never gotten attached to an animal as a family member, you'll never understand an animal being a member of the family. But you better believe people grieve when their animal dies. It's a loss, like any other loss. It's a loss to them. What about trustworthy? Folks, they got to trust you enough to share their feelings with you.
Got to be reliable and show up,
Yes.
be there.
Yeah, if you say we're meeting on such and such date, you better make sure that you move heaven and earth to be there. And if you can't be there, call them ahead of time. Don't just not show up. Call them ahead of time, and while you're on the phone, set the next date that you're going to meet.
If you just don't show up, you're ruined.
You've ruined your whole relationship. They might as well be assigned a new Stevens minister. If you don't bother to show up, we might as well assign a new Stevens minister. Call them, let them know things will come up, folks. When you've got a care receiver, there will be things that will come up that you can't be there. That's okay. Hear me. That's okay. You still have a family. But call them, let them know why you can't be there, and then while you're on the phone, set the date that you will be there, the next day, whatever day it is, that you will be there to visit with them.
What if you have an issue that you can't call them? Who would they, the step receiver minister has an issue, they can't call?
They call me.
Okay.
They call me.
Later.
Always call me, Sandra, Joel. Always call one of us, and if we can't get in touch with them, we will go to their house and see them.
Well, Gerald, he's always going to Canada.
Yep.
So he asked me to actually go to the
Right.
every week at a certain time.
If you can't be there and you can't get a hold of them, you call one of us so that we can go be there at that time and meet with them. All right, looking ahead. I've mentioned a couple of times that a care receiver who is depressed may be at risk for attempting suicide. Next time we meet, we'll discuss in depth how to respond when a care receiver may be considering suicide. Suicide can be a very sensitive and painful topic. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to speak to me, Sandra, Doyle, Bob, before our next session. You have some pre-class reading in your Stephen Minister training manuals. Pay careful attention to the reading material and come to class ready to apply what you've read. Let's close in prayer. Lord Jesus, you know the pain of loss and abandonment. You have experienced the sadness, loneliness, anger, hopelessness, and fear that we all encounter at times. Be near our care receivers when they feel depressed. Be present with us and use us to patiently care for them as they suffer. Be a source of hope in us and through us. Help us to know and to show that, while weeping may persist in the night, your healing love will endure. Amen.